Hello. Welcome. Today we're going to talk about the first things that happens in the book Quidditch Through the Ages. Now I would hold it up, but because I had a magical spell that I used, it became invisible. I'm working on fixing this, seeing as I'm only halfway through, so I'm going to put it over here where I can remember where it is. So, first what happens in the book. This book in itself, what I thought about it, general thoughts, that's a new segment we're going to do. Roll the intro. Boom, that was a fantastic intro. So, this book overall, brilliant. Really like it, really gives context to the Harry Potter novels about sport, Quidditch through the ages. Now, this book is unique because it doesn't really have a storyline. Well, yeah, it does have a storyline. It follows the evolution of the sport, Quidditch. But it doesn't have, like, a character-driven storyline. It's more of a, well, in this case I would suppose, a plot-driven storyline. And many different characters that are mentioned once and have some lines and some dialogue, but are not used later. But anyways, what happens in the beginning is that there is first of all a foreword by Albus Dumbledore, which is funny because he's never used in the book again. But it's cool because he's a character that's in Harry Potter, so it makes sense. So he basically says that this book is being released to the Muggle world, which is our world because we are not magic. And it is to explain to us what Quidditch is. So it's funny how they break the fourth wall there. And it also says, funny detail on the book, I would show you, but then again the book's invisible. A funny detail is that they say that this book has been released to you and bought in a Muggle store, but be careful because it might be bewitched. So gotta look out for that. Well, apparently mine is, because then again, invisible. But it starts off talking about the early days of the broomsticks. The first broom, picture there, very nice picture. The first broomstick ever made looked like that, and according to the book, it was in the year 962. So AD, not BC, but AD, Anno Domini. And basically it's invented by this German scientist, I suppose, well, the wizard version of a scientist. He invents this using some sort of spell or curse, making it out of materials that he thought would make it easier to fly. He flew from Germany to France, but after that he got infections in his, well, like, legs, and also in his other body parts that I can't remember the name of. But anyways, he gets infections. It's not very nice, not very pretty, and that's because of the material the broomstick was made of. And looking at the picture again, yeah, doesn't look very comfy. Looks very bumpy, and yeah, I would probably have a sore, well, bum after sitting on that. So, moving on, it goes forward a couple of years, yada yada yada, it goes forward. They start talking about how they made them better, how they made the broomsticks better. So they started to make them out of other materials. They used other types of hay for the end, other types of straws, and they started to use other types of wood that would be more comfortable. And now we jump forward to the 16th century, where the first game of Quidditch is sort of played, but it's in the Quidditch marches, I think, which is where it got its name from. And there's a witch there. She's living there. She's not very happy about the local boys flying around on broomsticks, trying to throw like an old, well, leather ball, which would be later become the modern ball, I forget the name of. through barrel hoops or through trees, which would be used as scoring systems. Also, the objective of the game here was for two teams had two dragon bladders, which on both ends of the field, and then the goal was to both teams' goals was to break the other team's dragon bladder, which they did by throwing this leather ball, which had some spikes on it, through. And they would also score points, 10 points each per throw, even though if it missed and just went through the ring. And then once the bladder was broken, the team would be awarded extra points, and if their points went over the enemy's points, then they would win. So that was the base grounds of Quidditch, how it worked, and played in the marshes. So yeah, that's basically it. That's basically the first steps of it. And I really like this book because it's funny, because it explains it in a way. I feel like if I was a student at Hogwarts, I would probably read this book as like learning material. So it feels like I've just gone and got a book from a wizard shop, and now I'm learning about this because it's so real, even though flying broomsticks are not real. But still, it's real enough. So yeah, it's interesting. And also, the name of the book, Quidditch Through the Ages, it makes sense why it's named that. I mean, it's what it explains. Literally explains Quidditch through the ages, and it's very plot driven, very driven by the sport itself and not by characters, which makes this book very unique and good. So yeah, that was the first review, first vlog or whatever you want to call it, and yeah, it was interesting. I really like the book so far. Gonna keep on reading it once I can figure out how to make it not invisible. And yeah, see you in the next one. Well, as the French would say, no? Yeah, au revoir.